largely and widely considered the best team in NA West. So what we figured is we kind of take some time, we kind of pull some of their stuff, and Kelly, I, and possibly you, Shy Soldier, would break all of this down. So Kelly, talk to us about this trio.
I mean, there's so much to talk about. Arkham, Rex, Epic Whale, the reigning champions from Season 4, came into the competition in Qualifier 1, not even making it past Round 3. But then they got first place in the second week of qualifiers, and now they're proving why they deserve to be in first place right now. It started a little rough from them yesterday, Shio. We saw them get a few eliminations, but it wasn't until, in fact, game number 5 that they walked away in first place with 14 eliminations.
For the content, right? These guys haven't given us that underdog comeback style story. They're just dominant from the start all the way to the finish. So this was a nice special treat from them in these 2-day finals. They definitely clapped back. The thing though, Kelly, is that they're kind of head to head in a fist fight with another team on the board who's still looking for that first place slot kind of back in their home.
That's right. But still looking at them right now, Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale, even when they're down, even when they're struggling a little bit, they are still able to dominate on that low ground, grabbing a few eliminations. But, Shio, you just casted it. We just saw them win from high ground, which I know that it was possible that they could win. But this is actually, I think, their first high ground win that we've seen over the 9 games.
Yeah, we were talking about, or I guess I was talking about the fact that they're so good at low and playing there, you can't count it out. The fact that they push for height when they had the chance to go for the low ground just shows that they're still confident. And, you know, we saw it in that game. They held that confidence all the way through to the Victory Royale.
But we also saw them drop from the leaderboard, so were they able to claim their first place spot again? Yes, they did it with that second Victory Royale. 55 eliminations. Look at that point difference now. Before, there was only 3 points that separated Arkham from Quinn. Now, it's 45.
I mean, Kelly, we've seen it for 6 months, you know, over at DreamHack. NA West ends up having an island with like 2 or 3 teams and then everyone else very close side by side. This time, that island is absolutely evicted. There's just one team on it, 50 points almost ahead. This is a tough ask for any other team to take that first place slot off of this God trio.
And there's only 2 games that remain right now with a Victory Royale and 10 eliminations. That'll get you 50 points, so it's definitely still possible for these teams to climb up to 3rd or 4th, but that first place spot is definitely looking out of reach, especially for these teams right here.
No, they definitely have to put their foot on the gas, but, you know, as I said in game, it's all about the first place team, Arkham, Rex, and Epic, landing on the brakes, which they haven't done recently just yet at all, right? 11th, 4th, 3rd, and then 1st. They're looking so good. All these teams would need a win, and then they would have to lose. I don't think that mathematical equation exists within the laws that we operate in right now with how far ahead they are.
No, essentially Arkham's team would have to go down 0 points with elimination or from placements and eliminations, and then these teams right here would have to get 2 Victory Royales with at least 10 eliminations each. So I don't think it's possible anymore. But like we were talking about before, these teams aren't fighting for first place anymore. They're just fighting to try and be in that top 10, and that's really where you start to see the disparity between the prize pooling there. So it might not be a fight for first, but a fight for 4th place is still thousands of dollars different.
And that's just the narrative we're creating, right? Saw it in NA East. We thought it was kind of wraps. Game 10, Game 11, the final 3 games. Suddenly, there's a team that pops up, gets a huge win, even when the first team didn't go down. Repeat it over and over, and it gets huge.
But Shio, the difference from that is that I think there was only 10 points that separated 1st from 5th. There's 50 points that separates 1st from 2nd. So I think it's a little different.
10 to 50, a potato. Is it really that different?
Yeah. You know,
Yes,
I think it's possible. But once again, this trio is dominant for a reason. But now we're kicking it back over to games. It's game number 5 on the day. Clay, Sundown, over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Kelly. And potato, tomato, tomato. Well, I spot 2 llamas out in the field, and there is 4 llamas within a stone's throw of each other on the Cami split, so you can expect a large injection of mats and utility into at least one team from that eastern side. My name's Sundown, happy to be back. Thank you so much, Shio, for filling in there in the previous match, joined by Clay Stelling to call the final 2 matches here of the Chapter 2 Season 5 FNCS. This is the NA West region.
and none of the players landing on the llama. You got to imagine that they saw them there for everything, because that would max them out without having to farm a single build, without having to do anything in the game. If they grabbed 3 of those llamas, they would all essentially be max materials for everyone. So hopefully they're able to find some, but a team that needs no llama and needs very little introduction, Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex, doing so well after figuring out their Storm Surge strategy coming into these back half of games. They have been dominating.
Yeah, and they put together a fantastic string of games, only really having one dud of a game where still they were able to get 2 eliminations, and that was in match number 1 yesterday. Other than that, their worst performance has been in 11th place with 1 elimination. So just been good at consistently picking up points across the board, as well as being in 2nd place in terms of average elims, only giving that over to Fabs, CLGJ, and Wavy Jacob so far.
That is an insane amount of consistency for them, and we would expect nothing less than the reigning trio FNCS champions to show up here today. But there's a challenger, multiple, however, as you see Chicken still in the feed, but the closest one is Dylan, Quinn, and Juicy. They went down very early on in that last game, I believe due to fall damage and an overextension of their build. Definitely going to be able to learn from that and put themselves in a better situation coming into this game, because they do not want to go down that early again, because Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex will just keep running away.
And that's the problem. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the broadcast, but when you're playing for consistency, you're playing to just be making the end games and racking up points. The one game where you don't end up doing that, if you don't necessarily have that monumental high moment or that high capability that we've seen from teams like the Epic Whale, Rex, and Arkham, where they chained together, I think their best performance so far was the 14 elimination first place that we ended up seeing at the end of yesterday. Well, that's a lot of points, and it doesn't matter how consistent you are. When you're able to put up one of those games, or even have the potential of putting up one or more of those games, those consistency-based teams have just that much more pressure on them. And now with a 50 or 45-point lead going in with just the last 2 games, all Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale have to do is hang on.
And they just have to stay in the game. Even if they're able to steal a couple placement points away, that is so hard to overcome. And you know they're going to get at least a couple of eliminations just by the nature of who they are and how they play. Now figuring everything out that they need to do to put together a back-to-back run. We may be seeing it now, but Symmetrical Dog and Zinc are playing really well. In 3rd place, Sundown is out of the game.
Out early here. You don't want that happening in match number 11. Only one more game for them. They'll be waiting in lobby to see the results. And don't forget, while 1st place is starting to look a little bit like a wrap, could potentially call it here after this game, there's still more to be fought for. The next threshold being that top 3, the guaranteed qualification into next season's FNCS final, being able to avoid all of the qualifiers and the semifinals and go straight into that final round.
You can't count out some of these trios. They are so aggressive and great at finding eliminations. Favs, Wavy Jacob, and Jay here in Misty Meadows, uncontested. We finally, I believe, got to see Wavy Jacob with that Dragon's Breath shotgun and was popping off low ground. I hope to see it on him once again. There is a team coming in. This could be the catalyst they need to keep going. And like you talked about, that top 3 is so valuable in of itself. You get into the upper echelon of placement, but you also, once again, you get that auto qualify. And that is so big, so monumental. If they're able to come out today, perform even better on this day after their unfortunate performance on day number 1, it would be really great to see. And I don't think they are going to stop anytime soon. So now 96 points just today. There's a team nearby. They have a truck. They're looking to get aggressive.
Yeah, currently sitting on 176 points overall. That puts them into 5th place. They're 15 points behind 4th, and then 24 points behind that current 3rd place slot. So we kind of keeping an eye on the overall standings there as we see 40R Storm pick up a full confirmation onto Little, and you're trying to set up potentially a little bit of an ambush, but their targets are already fleeing, Clay. They are gone.
They did not want a piece of that action once they realized what they were doing as they were disengaging or coming back. They decided, no, but Snacky going to take some damage as he's trying to get in that taxi to take it away. Izo, Ute, and Carp have been here the entire day. They're rotating out of Caddy Corner. They can go back in. There will be some fruit available there, more than likely, that they've left behind for shields. They can heal back up. But they have been playing so well coming out of what was a semi-contested drop, now an uncontested drop. To get third place, they just need to keep doing their game, playing their game, doing what they're doing, and not falter here, because they have done such incredible things.
And it's all come down to these final moments. Again, if you are just joining us, we have this match and then one more final match here to wrap up the FNCS Finals in Chapter 2, Season 5, wherever you're watching, whether it's Party Royale on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, any platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Sundown. I'm joined here by Clay Stelling. We've been celebrating the amazing players here on NA West. We've seen all the other regions, but so far, the action on West has largely gone the way a lot of us expected, with the Goliaths rearing their head and really grabbing a firm hold of that #1 position here going into the final 2 matches. The question is, can anybody challenge for the top spot? Will they drop early? And if not, then who will be able to take over second and third to secure that automatic qualification?
Maybe Jacob trying to get in, trying to find some sort of tag to get in those boxes, but not able to get in. And Rex, Arkram, and Epic Whale are fighting off against Reet, Macon, and 40R Storm. This is a really big fight. First place going off one of the biggest contenders coming in to the finals today. They have disengaged. They've decided against it. But look at the damage that was done to 40R, Reet, and Macon just on 40R's inventory. 1 Chug Splash remaining. Not a lot of builds. They were very, very close to going down.
Well, they had already taken a fight here as well, and we saw that Little and Temple can be an absolute pest in these early fights. They're very hard to get rid of, just like those cockroaches sliding away, not making you utilize every little trick in the book to just get them exposed for an extra half second there, and largely it's going to burn through a lot of resources you have. Luckily for them, being down in Slurpee Swamp and with the zone here, you're able to farm up wood faster than pretty much any other spot in the map, so they're not going to be too resource heavy here, but the investment that they've put into stone and metal could come back to bite them, because it's super hard to refarm that up here, especially once a lot of those bigger stones has been farmed out, and generally those are the first things to go.
But they do still have the rocket launcher in the inventory to try to make a play, and we've seen them do it time and time and again, whether it be through gas cans or just using that rocket launcher to get into a box. As they're getting tagged up, Reet trying to figure out where it came from, not exactly sure on the call out there. 40R is going to pop some of those slurp mushrooms he found there, but Mark, Misty's, and Gabriel are keeping them out of the Hydro 16 dam, where they landed not too long ago, literally just this match and all the other ones. They're being held out. Their rotation is going to have to go where Arkram, Epic Whale, and Rex did just moments prior. So hopefully they're able to find that. They desperately, though, need to find an elimination to really get back into it.
Those eliminations end up coming down to be such a huge difference maker. We've talked about every single point mattering with so many of these regions coming down to the final moments. Well, NA West might end up being the exception to that rule. However, if there is going to be a change, it's going to come on the back of one of those monstrous elimination games like the ones we've seen dropped previously.
We do see Kenshi get in another elimination, that one onto Izo. We saw that back and forth fight come through in Retail Row, now finally able to convert. Again, they are in third place right now, so even though first place might seem unreachable, the difference coming into this game for second to third was only 16 points. That is just a little bit of placement in a couple of eliminations. So even that, the amount of money that is there between those two placements is insane as well. So everything is still up for grabs for a lot of these teams, and you cannot count anybody out right now. Kytrex, Chicken, and Avail, though, I want to see what their Storm Surge numbers are as well, because when Shio popped in, they were 500 damage above once again.
Yeah, I'm 100% VOD reviewing these guys because for landing in the middle of the map, and they don't necessarily, unless we see Chicken pick up a snipe early on, we don't always see them hitting the shot. So, again, with one elimination, 577 above is still much higher than average coming out there. So, some good positioning and good early tags. I'm going to guess a lot of it has to do with the primary position and getting that stone fortifort kind of built up. But coming over the top of the hill, raining shots right away, but needs to be careful about just posting up in the open there. Fortunately, only takes one body tag to his shield, so not necessarily going to be too worried about it. But this is a very southern zone, Clay. I believe the farthest south so far we've had, at least today, if not across the entirety of the 11 matches so far.
Yeah, the NA West zone seemingly loving Misty Meadows and Lazy Lake. Kytrek, Chicken, and Avail, though, do not like the trio in front of us. They're trying to get some more damage. 653 above. They have changed something up as well. Because, reminder, that first game we hopped on when they were in 400 damage above with them, they almost eliminated 2 Storm Surges very quickly because they did not keep getting the damage. Now, they've realized, hey, we need to just keep getting the damage the same way we've done. And it's kind of just playing, not recklessly, but just the way they want to play. I don't really have a word for it there, but they're fearless. There we go. They're not worried about taking those tags like we saw. If they get tagged up, they have the shields. They're not worried, and they're playing so well at getting all of these rotations early, all of these tags early, and setting themselves up for a beautiful endgame.
Fearless is definitely one word for it there, and there's a sense of confidence that comes with it as well. And we've talked about that, just the mentality of these top players. You have to believe you have an edge on your opponents, because if not, it makes all these fights so incredibly scary. But right now, talking about a scary fight on the edge of the zone right here with the team on the bubble for one of those top 3 spots, it's Select, Avail, Chicken, and Kytrek. So they're desperately just trying to tunnel their way into zone. This zone is going to turn over into a 2-tick, so doing a decent amount of white health damage as well. And you can see spending a lot of hard mats to really push in there. They have a team with Storm Surge in the zone at their backs. No wonder they're booking it straight for the zone. That is terrifying.
Because they already done damage to them. Hopefully no raise going to get that one on a Talta. I believe they're going to be able to convert onto at least one of them. But we've seen them do this before, where they get ahead of a team that they've already engaged with prior. They take a little bit of zone damage, and just to absolutely dominate them coming in. And you see Zelho now going to go down to zone, as well as Storm Surge decaying, trying to make it in. But look, Chicken is just going in. They get a knock. There's a player on the other side just waiting there. They got to be careful. They can't be too greedy, but they're finding Elim after Elim after Elim. They hold them there for the cyber shot. They don't need the Storm Surge. They're so far above, but yet they're making sure. And the team was revealed. Those damage coming through from the other side will find them out. Are they going to be able to find the eliminations? I do not believe so. But they got what they wanted, and they got what they came for.
I was about to say, there's another team coming through that storm as well. However, they need to be cognizant of that next rotation. You can see pulling yet again farther south, just a little bit southwest of the caddy corner. Reminder there for the format on the left-hand side of the screen, each elimination being worth 2 points than the initial placement points. Starting out, once we get in the top 50% of our trios remaining, that's 17th place with 33 in the lobby. Each trio that drops there will be worth 1 point as shots coming through it. A bunch of AR bullets caught there on the rotation. Not something Avail is going to necessarily be happy about, but we've stressed it over and over again. Top 3 on the overall leaderboard is very important. Top 3 on each individual in-game leaderboard is also important, with 16 points going over the top 3, 6 for third, 5 for second, and then 5 for that victory royale. As you can see, everyone making the rotation, and we hop on boards with the Goliaths for a reason of NA West. It's Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale.
Once again, making an early rotation, going into center zone. This is something they have adapted on the fly. We know this is one of the best strats for getting in a great placement, but their first couple of games, not the way they wanted them to go. Now, in their back half, have been doing their game, playing their game, and putting themselves in such a great spot. As you see in the center, they have really good loot. They've got the sniper shot on Rex. And a little quick stat for everyone. Rex and Epic Whale have won exactly 2 games in every FNCS finals they've played together. So history's bound to repeat itself today.
Hey, we're going to pump those numbers way up. Those are rookie numbers, but that is very impressive considering a lot of those FNCS numbers before weren't necessarily those kind of 12-game formats were spanned across 2 days. So even more impressive when you're talking about winning 2 out of 6 matches. However, these guys have just so many their tournament results, the pedigree coming through in terms of competition is absolutely ridiculous when you talk about it. And to see that level of experience, to see them continuing to work together, to sticking together in what is normally such a turbulent environment, it's shown a level of maturity and a level of consistency where not only are they the Goliaths of the West for a reason, one could argue that they are the most consistent trio in the world.
It's definitely an argument that could be made, and if they were to pick up the back-to-back, it definitely will start the argument there. But Quinn, Dylan, and Juicy look to put a rein on that parade. They're once again going for an early high ground. I just hope that they go down on top of this build and then build out, and they don't try to extend out like they did before. And they are going to do it. They get into zone just a little bit. So part of this hill is in, and they will have it. If it pulls back to them, they are set up so well. We saw this happen before. We've seen this mountain zone play out in so many different ways. If you pull this mountain zone, you essentially set yourself up for a top 3.
Old Man Mountain potentially rearing his head here yet again. The changes in verticality that happen in this area are mountainous, pun very much so intended. You can just see checking around. You have that deep river 3 coming in on each side, and they're mountain pretty much in each corner. So already Dylan, Quinn, and Juicy set up in a fantastic position if half in, half out pulls their way. If not, things, oh dear.
And they're almost below storm surge as well, only 51 above. So luckily for them, they can get the res. But no, as I say that, a team is pushing in. They're being very aggressive. Juicy is going to be picked up. Quinn is going to stick to res, but Dylan doesn't hit the charge shot. Is he going to hit any of these, though?
Hello?
Will he put the damage back on? And Juicy, no, is going to go down. Wait, no, I spoke too soon. He drops down. He is up. Very low HP. Nate, Spidey, and Blizzy, though, they won over here earlier, and they want to do it again. A big knock comes through, but an even bigger res from Quinn.
The danger of being a gargoyle as Juicy gets knocked all the way down to the bottom and then confirmed over. We see Arkham is still on his feet, and that's the danger of being a gargoyle. That's the danger of these changes in verticality. You think you're all the way up on the high ground. You think nobody could possibly have an angle on me. Well, you're wrong. There's always someone who can find you there. And Juicy, peeking out a little bit too much when they were still above Storm Surge, could potentially put an end to their hopes to challenge for first place. This is our second place trio, the most consistent. They've only gone down outside of placements once, but they're in danger here as 54 players still remaining, 19 trios on their feet in a very dangerous zone, pulling nearly completely north up onto that high ground.
And they have angles on our first place team as well as Reet and company there on the low ground. Kenshi, Snacky, and Christo have been set up here, have not been over peaking. 4 eliminations for them coming into this game. Third place. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth are all still alive in this game. Chicken right there going to take down Power. That's going to be another 2 points going over. If they're able to grab any more, it'll be even better. Blizzy getting another elimination. Chicken picks up one as well. So the Elam points are coming through. But Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex are still in this game, and we're only 1 trio off placement.
And as long as they're getting placement points, they'll be content knowing they had a 45-point lead coming into this game, able to pick up a couple tags. I think they have an elimination or 2 as well over onto their backs. Let's hop on board with them. Yes, currently sitting on 1, courtesy of Epic Whale. You can see 105 points so far today, largely based on their last victory royale. You see Arkham doing a fantastic job tarping ahead for them, being at the front of the box. And don't forget as well, Arkham swapped over to be a full controller player for this FNCS, going straight in the box. And look at those tags, back to back to back, huge 40 tags, finds the 24 white as well. Can they get the confirmation, and can they get in the zone as we're pulling up and over the mountain? They'll get the confirmation onto 40R Storm there, as well as all of his loot. They're going to be incredibly happy about that. No, as I say that, wasn't actually able to get the confirmation. Looks like 40R Storm got pulled back, so just getting the knock there.
What a big pickup there, but Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex have a mountain and a half to go through with Reap being right nearby. Here we go. They are going up. They're moving very, very quickly. They're trying to get up as soon as they can because they cannot get hit by zone. If they do, it's just going to tick them down more and more and more. Arkham leading the charge, 40 builds to his inventory, everyone building ahead of him. The late rotate here is so good because everyone already built for you. And Sundown, they're looking for high ground yet again. We saw them do this last game, and they're looking to take it again. Arkham just going up. He's getting a little peek. He is lurking in the shadows. They see it there, but do they want it? Do they want it enough?
He didn't have enough mats. He went and looked, and you saw him start to ramp, and then he double-checked, and he went, I have absolutely no metal and only 10 bricks. So instead, opting to just go for the second height, knowing that any placements they get is just going to help them hold on to their lead. Because again, we're into the placement points here. We've already doled out 5 with 12 trios remaining, and they're still hip to hip on the front side of the zone. You can tell they're low on mass based on how they're playing, but they get in the box, one down and straight onto Jeffers. They pull him back, and then they get all of the loot that goes with it. That's 3 elims for them so far, and this could be their FNCS title secured right here with a game yet to play. They're trying to make it back-to-back victory royales, break the quote-unquote curse or gift of winning exactly 2 games. They say, we want 3, we want the axe, we want all the prizes, and we'll show you that there is no time for David here. Goliath rearing its head on the low ground and trying to go to work.
And what a way to do it, dominating. Epic Whale finally able to get up there to Arkham. Rex is there as well. No, as I say that, he's going to go down on the backside, and that's not the player you want to go down. Rex clutches up 9 times out of 10. Epic Whale going into zone. He's got Floppers. Not able to find that one. Will get that elimination. Flopper is going to be popped there. He's got 2 left in his inventory. Will pop 1 more, but he has to get in his zone. It's going up the mountain. Bouncer is going to be there. Shots from above, not going to connect on to anybody but him as the Flopper is popped. Will he find anything? No, Snacky going to deny him, but I think he held on for a 3rd place there. I think it may have been enough. Snacky trying to make something happen there, but once again, Spidey, Flizzy, and Nate win a very early game on the high ground.
High ground control proving key as Old Man Mountain, the moving zones, the changes in verticality, causing as much pressure as any player, any team controlling high ground wishes they could, seeing so many players forced to burn utility to just compete. But the lead in first just keeps stretching, and the real question is, can anybody catch the group at the top?
We'll have to find out as we're going to send it back to Zeke, Shio, and Kelly to see exactly what they have prepared for us.
I don't know that I have anything prepared at this point because I feel like these guys at the top, it's not even like, this is not even a competition at this point. They were just waiting. They were kind of like, they begin by like, yeah, no, we'll take it seriously. Like they're that guy in the anime. They're the guy that's so unbelievably strong that destroys things with it 1 punch. And it just happens like this, Shy. It just be like that sometime.
At the same time, they had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie, right? That first day wasn't looking the best in total.
They tricked you. They
really brought it back. And they are the main story coming into these final games.
Without a doubt, the main story. I mean, they were the main story coming into the competition overall for North American West, which is why it was such a surprising story to see them do so poorly in the first qualifier, but they are not doing poorly at all right now. Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale, I think they actually went down in 3rd place in that last game right there. But of course, we just saw them get a victory royale in the 4th game of the day, so they are not slowing down whatsoever.
Yeah, they got basically 2 of those just to rack up all their big placements. They've been having single-digit placements as well, back-to-back. Almost in placement all the time. I think just 1 game they had 27th to start off this entire run. But past that, they just look so good. And I know we already focused on them in our last package on the last desk, but there's so much more to talk about on how they play. We just learned that Rex is basically the person who carries the squad with the most damage. The other 2 are just there to clutch up as well. There's just such a phenomenal trio.
It is absolutely insane, the performance that we're seeing out of them. The fact that it kind of was a repeat where they got 27th place in the first game yesterday, and now they haven't placed below 12. But now our 2nd place team, Dylan, Juicy. Now, no, we're moving on to Kenshi, Snacky, and Chris, who had a rough day 1. But day number 2, they have been playing out of their minds, jumping all the way up to 3rd place, and it's just been going up since then.
Yeah, we were talking about, trios that lurk in the shadows. This team was just always there, somewhere in the top 10. They really elevated. Speaking about that top 10, though, right, these guys started there in first place. I think it was 3 games, Chicken, Patrick's, and Avail stayed up top. Day 2 is not the same story, though, as day number 1.
Hey, but they've been getting better. They started off day 2 in 20th place. Now they've jumped up and had an 8th and 7th place finish. In that last game, they actually walked away with 5 eliminations. So although it is not the performance that we saw in the start of day 1, they are starting to ramp up again. But is it too late? And speaking of ramping up right now, this team moving up into 5th place last game, doing a pretty good job showing why Favs, Wavy Jacob, and Jay deserve to be a top contender in North American West.
Yeah, I think they realized that they were finally actually playing in this tournament because they were honestly sleeping on that first day overall. Really getting online today. We're finally watching the patterns these guys have when they're, attacking boxes, playing endgame. Maybe it was the name change for Favs that was needed the whole time, but it's clearly working out for them.
Don't encourage them.
Yeah.
I'm not trying.
But hey, with the name change, 12 eliminations in a 6th place finish, I can only imagine if they just tweak a few things, find a way to move that end game into the top 3, because that's really what's holding them back from 5th place right now. They have the eliminations, they just need those final placement points.
The balancing act, the ultimate tiebreaker, if you will, that a lot of these trios are trying to make up. Now, when we look across the leaderboard, I think what we have to kind of talk about here is first place is looking like a lock coming into the final game. However, second and third place can absolutely make that run. It just requires the first place team, Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale, to fall extremely early without placements, without eliminations. It is doable, but now we have to look across the rest of the leaderboard. Now we're aiming for 4th place and 5th, right? All these trios are trying to make it up as high as they can because at the end of the day, placement is on the line here, Shot Wager, and if they can just jump up even just 1 slot, it will make such a difference.
Yeah, for Kenshi, they jumped up to that 2nd place slot, right? Juicy holding it down with Quinn and Dylan. They're going to talk about it in the package, but they're so good at just playing multiple angles all around them. It's not just about that, though. Need to do more now. Spidey also elevating to this page. Mojo dropped down. Reet is right there, too. All these teams can still jump up near 200 and maybe make that top 3.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 14 elimination games. We've seen victory royales with 9 eliminations. So it's definitely possible. I don't know if any of these teams right here really have a shot at like the top 5, honestly. But it's definitely possible.
Yeah, all the way near the top. I think it's 223 points. It's kind of the cutoff in the top 4. Then it drops to 181 for Favs, Wavy Jacob, and Jay. So that's kind of the separator. Over here, though, to jump up to 4th, I mean, an 80-point game might not be possible, but these guys can elevate, break into top 10. That's where you get more prizing, double the prizing, actually. I think it's a big boost that these guys should be aiming for still. The last game will be no joke for any team on the Fortnite map.
Yeah, there's kind of like a few stories going on right now where we see 5th through 17th are all pretty close to each other. There's only 80 points that really separates these teams, and that is a lot of teams. And then obviously on the top end, it's 2nd through 4th, which is Kenshi's, Quinn's, and Chicken's team. Can they find a crazy game in this final game right here? Get enough points, which is around 50 to 60 points to just even overtake Arkham. But like you said, Arkham has to go down early. And in that situation, I'm looking at the drop spot map right now. We have Notch's team that's near him, Optimal, Mango. So when these rotations happen, they're really not fighting any too big of a threat. They're able to make it into the end game, get great loadouts because they're landing Sweaty Sands, and then no one's able to stop them.
Still, if they trip, they almost have. Rex saved them once. If they trip, they don't become that main story anymore. There's a chance for new narratives to thrive and rise up to the top. Quinn could catch up. Kenshi has a good pedestal as well. These guys just don't need to go down in the early game. That's it. Make it off of early, make it to mid, and make it top 17. That's all this top team needs to do.
You're completely right, and I'm glad that you brought up Kenshi because I feel like we should have been focusing on this team way more. They had an on and off again performance yesterday, but a 3rd place finish and a 2nd place finish and a 1st place finish just today is what shot them up into the leaderboard. 2nd place right now. They just need a victory royale with a few eliminations or a 2nd or 3rd place finish like we just saw them with a few eliminations as well.
This is a tall ask, but anything is possible in the world of Fortnite. This is it. Last game, NA West. Let's do this.
And for one more time in Chapter 2, Season 5, the battle bus has loaded here in the FNCS Finals. The players are out. The drop spots will be claimed. And currently, the FNCS Finals is looking a little bit more like the Epic Whale Cup, where everyone else is just playing for second, or in this case, trying to get into that third and automatic qualification spot. My name's Sundown, calling the final game, the last bit of the action here, along with Clay Stelling.
And normally we'd see the first place team a little bit worried about being contested off a spawn, but the respect given on the name of Arkham, Epic, Whale, and Rex, nobody once again is even near them, but the respect nonetheless needs to go over to Blizzy, Spidey, and Nate, winning 2 games today in similar fashion, dominating both of them. How far can they go in this last game?
It's been a lot about the late high ground control. We've stressed it in the other regions, but in West in particular, and that's because the high ground control here doesn't generally get established as early as some of the other regions. In NA East and EU, if you're watching the broadcast, you'll see it around kind of that 5th and that half in, half out zone, when a team who pulls the priority position will really invest a lot of mats. Well, in West, that's not usually the case. The high ground control will get established in that 7th zone more often than not. That's why you see there's generally more opportunities for kind of these late takes and some more shifts in who's up there.
Now panning over to Sweaty Sands once again. It's not West without them, and they're showing why. Looking to go back-to-back. Then maybe next FNCS, they'll go the back-to-back-to-back. The three-peat might come through as we see Cube taking down Fuzzo and Ruben. That fight has been happening all day, today and yesterday, over near the Slurpee Swamp area, and once again not going in the favor of Ruben and co. But again, just for making it here to finals, they win a good portion of the prize pool. So great on them, as everyone else in that trio now gonna fall as well. Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale, though, they figured out Storm Surge. They've made their plan, and they have executed it these last 3 games.
And right now, just trying to find a little bit of room, but don't forget, there's still plenty to be decided here in the last game. Unless these guys go down early, the first place spot should be more than wrapped up. And so far, we've already seen the 6th place and the 12th place team go down. So still plenty of room to be had on the middle of that leaderboard. Plenty can be changed up. We'll go back to the World Cup, where TSM Crew at the time ended up going from 66th place to 6th with a 7 elimination victory royale in the final game. Kind of got swept under the rug a little bit by Booga's monumental performance, but that was a huge swing from him there, and all of these teams are capable of pulling it out at the last moment. It's just the question is, what are the stakes on the line, and what are the opportunities? Where does it come from? And now we're going to swing back on board here to what is now our 2nd place team of Kenshi, Snacky, and Chris, who have had a phenomenal day 2 here so far, Clay.
They have. It's been insane for the performance that they've put up. Kenshi putting out earlier that he's just built a little bit different, and today showing why, and showing that he is so good at this game. The trio not giving up after their first day, which they had a great performance in, coming into today saying we want that first place, and one of the future to topple Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex if they have the most beautiful run through this game.
It would take, at minimum, a victory royale and 8 eliminations, with Epic Whale and his team picking up 0 points in the match, which so far we've yet to see them drop a goose egg, their worst performance being a simple 4.1 all the way back in match number 1. So to say that's unlikely would be a relatively fair assessment of the situation. We're going to swing back on board here with Wavy, Jacob, DFabs, and CLGJ. Occupying a decent amount of space here around Misty Meadows, currently sitting in 5th place, so really looking to try and challenge for one of those top 3 spots.
And it kind of came on the back of Wavy Jacob to what they know, that Dragon's Breath in his inventory. We saw it. We talked about it and how they wanted to just shy away from it this time because it wasn't working out for them. But Wavy Jacob picked it up today in these last couple of games, and they have been performing so well. And now, hopefully, they can go back to their game, find their stride, and get to that top.
And rather than shying away from it, instead they wagered on it in these kind of 50-50 fights on the low ground, getting into these close quarters situations. But for them, when you have that Epic's drag, it makes it a little bit less of a 50-50 and a little bit less of a, or more shy, less shy wager? Yeah, a less shy wager when you go in there. I don't know, it's going to be a good joke, but I messed it up. He's the master of metaphors, not me. So we're going to swing back on board here, select the Veil, Chicken, and Kytrex.
Once again, they're set up in this position of a Veil, and it seems like Kytrex nearby. They always come to go over here to get the shields and then rotate out to that old Dusty Divot POI, Dusty Depot rather, that little warehouse that is there, looking for the snipes. And honestly, I think that's where it's coming from. Because every time in the early game we see them, they are both down here in the basement, and Chicken is off on top of that warehouse, looking for any sniper tag or any AR tag that they can. And they've been doing so well, 500, 400, 600 damage above, time and time again. But I have been noticing in this game, Reet is popping off.
Looking to just try and make a push up that leaderboard, currently sitting in 7th place, so going to take a decent amount of eliminations, but will pop back on over so many times on this rotation. As we've seen, it's Rex, Epic Whale, and Arkham, and they're going to be heading towards this less densely populated side of the zone, heading due south as far as possible. They want nothing to do with the northern side, don't want to be near anyone on the rotation, because every point they can guarantee in this match will just push them that much closer to the Axe of Champions, which is almost guaranteed.
They've made this rotation the past 3 games every single time, and it's worked out with the way the zone's full. They are going to take a little bit of damage there, but nothing monumental, nothing too tragic there for them, as we see more tags